All right. We're in First Ezra, the second chapter in the Apocrypha, and we're going to look at verse 2. It says, the Most High raised up the spirit of Cyrus, the king of the Persians, and he made proclamation through all his kingdom, and also by writing. He had 127 provinces, saying, thus says Cyrus, king of the Persians. So the Persians took down the Babylonian, which are the Ethiopian, under Nebuchadnezzar. And we was in captivity for 70 years, since approximately 538 BC, saying, thus say Cyrus, king of the Persians, the power of Israel, the most high power, hath made me king of the whole world. Now, he identified the Most High. Like, think about everybody now saying the Most High is everybody power. They just call on God, or whatever name they call him, right? But he understood that the Most High is the power of Israel. Check that out. Now let's go to Luke, the first chapter, a precept pertaining to the Most High identified himself as the power of Israel. Why didn't you say my power, like everybody say in this world that we in now? So Luke 168, it says, blessed be the Most High power of Israel. You see that? For he has visited and redeemed his people. This future prophecy. He gonna visit and he gonna redeem his people, who are the 12 tribes of Israel. Understand this. So I just went there to show you that the power, the Most High is the power of Israel, the Israelites. And he's acknowledging this. Verse 3 again, in 1 Ezra, the second chapter, saying, thus says Cyrus, king of the Persians, the most high power of Israel, the most high power, have made me king of the whole world, right? So we have to go to Daniel's 4 and 17. Go to Daniel's, the 4th chapter, the 17th verse. And it says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers, and a demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living with the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, instead of up over it the bases of men. You see? So Cyrus understood that the Most High power of Israel is the one that set him up to be king over the whole world. As we just read, the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, instead of over it the bases of men. So now when you go to 1 Ezra 2 and 4, let's continue. It said, and commanded me to build him an house at Jerusalem in Jerusalem. You see, in the land of Judah. So the Most High is commanding him. If you ruling in the kingdom, you telling somebody what to do. A command is an order, right? So he's making a proclamation. He said, verse 5, if therefore there be any of you that you is speaking to the Israelites that are of his people. I keep saying his people. So we got to see who his people is. One scripture we can go to, I think, is Exodus 18th chapter. His people. That you know he distinguishing himself away and not part of the Most High's people. But this nation and these kingdoms of people today say it don't matter, because they nothing but liars. Let's find out who his people is, because he's specific. Go to Exodus 18 and 1. When Jethro, the priest of Midian, Moses' father-in-law, Moses married to Jethro's daughter. That's how he became his father-in-law. Heard of all that the Most High had done for Moses and for Israel, his people. See? And for Israel, his people. And for Israel, meaning the Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel, his people, and that the Most High had brought Israel, the Israelites, out of Egypt, right? But you see, when he said, and for Israel, his people. So when you say his people, it's talking about the Israelites, point blank. The Bible answers itself. So now, when you go back to 1 Ezra, the 2nd chapter, in verse 5, it says, if therefore there be any of you that are of his people who are Israelites, let the Most High, even his power, you see how he's distinguishing that the Most High is not the Persians' power? Because Psalm 96 and 5 says, for all the gods or the powers of the nations are idols. So we're identifying that the Most High is not his power. That's why he's talking to the Israelites. That's why I say, if therefore there be any of you that are Israelites, that are of his people, who are Israelites, without a shadow of doubt, just proved that. Let the Most High, even his power, see? Not even my power, like they say today, but even his power, check it out, be with him. And let him go up to Jerusalem, that is in Judea, and build a house of the Most High power of Israel. For he is the Most High that dwelleth in Jerusalem. I love it. That's why when you look at how the Most High, like he said, he dwelleth in Jerusalem. Look at 2nd Ezra 5 and verse 24. It said, and of all lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit, and that is land of Israel. Point blank. Like it's said, his land. Going back to 1 Ezra 2. Verse 6, it says, whosoever then dwell in the places about, let him help him. Those, I say, that are his neighbors, with gold and with silver. Hear that? He said the Most High ordained him to let us go back to Jerusalem and build the temple. They trying to build a temple now, aren't they? Are they coming to the Israelites and say, hey, the Most High ordained us to go build this temple that they can sacrifice these red heifers, right? I don't think so. He said, whosoever that dwell in the places about, let them help him. Those, I say, that are his neighbors, with gold and with silver. Valuable funds. With gifts. Listen to what it's saying. With gifts, with horses, and with cattle, and of her things which have been set forth by vow for the temple of the Most High at Jerusalem. Hear that? All this for the temple of the Most High at Jerusalem. Gold and silver and gifts and all type of precious things that we're supposed to get. They're supposed to give to build this temple. Then the chief of the families of Judea and of the tribes of Benjamin, that's Judah and Benjamin, stood up. Right? That's two tribes, Judah and Benjamin. Like I said, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and the scattered of the other tribes that were with us. But listen, he's making distinctions here. So you understand, when you read the Bible, most likely you read about Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Then the chief of the families of Judea and the tribe of Benjamin stood up. It says the priests also and the Levites. See, the Levites are the priests that administrated the law. and all they whose mind the Most High had moved to go up, that are Israelites, and to build an house for the Most High at Jerusalem. And they that dwelt round about them, and helped them in all things with silver and gold, with horses and cattle, and with very many free gifts of a great number whose minds were stirred up thereto, whose minds was on building this temple so we can praise the Most High and give glory to his holy name. King Cyrus also brought forth the holy vessels. Let's understand this. King Cyrus also brought forth the holy vessels which Nebuchadnezzar had carried away from Jerusalem and had set up in his temple of idols. See? That's why I'm giving you Psalm 96 and 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols. Now he done taken our precious vessels and set them up in his temple of idols, Nebuchadnezzar. To all the other ones that was under him, after him, for us being there 70 years of captivity on them. So he took them from where they were at, after he retrieved them from taking down the Babylonians, getting them out of Nebuchadnezzar's idol temple, and gave them to us. Now when Cyrus, king of the Persians, had brought them forth, he delivered them to Mithridates, his treasurer, right? And by him they were delivered to Sennacherib, the governor of Judea. Gave all these vessels back to the Israelites. That's why you look at some of these kingdoms gonna be in order with the Most High in a righteous kingdom. As you see, he acknowledging the Most High power of Israel, and we the Israelites. Cyrus, king of the Persians. This is a very righteous thing that he's doing. But remember, the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. So he done delivered all the gold, the silver, and the precious things, of vessels that we had in the temple that Nebuchadnezzar took when we went in captivity under the Babylonians, and giving them back to us to put in the temple that we're going to build. And this was the number of them: 1,000 golden cups and 1,000 silver, censers of silver, 29, vials of gold, 30, and of silver, 2,000, of gold. Wait a minute. Salakia. I got to go to another Bible. That one's worn out. Salakia. I'm getting there. I have another one. I'm trying to scribe it. So I'm getting there. Salakia. It says in verse 13, and this was the number of them: 1,000 golden cups and 1,000 of silver, censers of silver, 29, vials of gold, 30, and of silver, 2,410, and 1,000 other vessels. That's a lot. In the temple. So all the vessels of gold and of silver, which were carried away, were 5,409. 5,400, 3 score, that's 60. Because the score is 20. 69. 4,469. These were brought back by Sennacherib together with them of the captivity. See, them of the captivity. So we in captivity under the Persians. Don't get it twisted. From Babylon to Jerusalem. See. But in the time of our taxes, think about it. This is another king. King of the Persians. Our taxes is the one that married Esther. Belamus and Mithridates and Tabelius and Rathamus and Beelzebubus and Simelius, the secretary, with others that were in commission with them, dwelling in Samaria, that's northern Israel, and other places, wrote unto him against them that dwell in Judea and Jerusalem. These letters following. Here we go. To King Artaxerxes, our master, thy servants, Rathamus, story writer, and Timelius, scribe, and the rest of their council, and the judges that are in Seol of Syria and Phoenix. Be it now known to the master, the king, that the Jews that are come up from you to us, being coming to Jerusalem, that rebellious and wicked city. See? You see how from Cyrus, and we had Darius next, and then you got just third king of Artaxerxes. You see how they look at us? We're rebellious, and the wicked city is saying, because of the fact of what? We have our own laws, statutes, and commandments. Listen what it say, do build the marketplaces and repair the walls of it, and do lay the foundation of the temple. Now, if this city and the walls thereof be made up again, they will not only refuse to give tribute, that's pay taxes to the king, but also rebel against kings. So when you look at our enemies, we're in captivity. And we always have and have had someone that look at us as an enemy. When we just doing what's right, pertaining to praising the Most High and doing what He tells us to do. And it's contrary to these other nations. And they're looking at the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You look at when he used to come down and take the sacrifices. Fire coming from the sky. And consuming the sacrifice. And we having a good time. And going to war. And waking up and 185 or 85,000 men are dead on the ground. Or however many thousands he done killed. And we ain't lift the sword. So these nations know about the Most High. Just like now, they don't want us to come back to the Most High. They want us to fear the Most High. Repent and come back to His commandments and cry unto the Most High, because they know. When you understand these nations and who we are and the power that He only know us, He only been dealing with us, and they know that He turned His face away from us because we didn't do what He say do. So they know that coming back to this building, this temple, oh, you see the first thing they say, oh, we're rebellious people, wicked. Wicked against what? Wicked against idols. Their idols. What they believe in. These nations, what they believe in. Until with their idols. You know, He just said He just took out all our vessels out of the Nebuchadnezzar idol temple. When He took them down, Cyrus was all right. But here come these wicked Persians. East Indians, naming them by name in the Bible. Writing against us. Mainly Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. And all the other tribes that was joined with us, scattered among us, like it is today. This is what they say, verse 18 again. Be it now known to the master, the king, our taxes, that the Jews that are come up from you to us, being come into Jerusalem, that rebellious and wicked city. See, why are we rebellious and wicked? Because we have laws that are contrary to all these other nations. And the Most High only gave his laws to Israel. His covenants with Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to the 12 tribes of Israel. Do build the marketplaces. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with us building a place to shop, to get our food and so forth? And repair the walls of it? What's wrong with repairing the walls of our city? And do lay the foundation of the temple, see? We lay in the foundation of the temple that Cyrus had ordained that we could do. Now, if this city and the walls thereof be made up again, they will not only refuse to give tribute, they're going to refuse to pay taxes, but also rebel against kings. See? So don't allow us to come back to the Most High. Y'all got to see this in the spirit. That's the threat of all nations. Well, I know they don't want to hear what I have to say, because I'm going to talk about the Most High. Yahweh, point blank. Period. Don't let them come back to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Power of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Jacob being the forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher. It's a call. God. Listen. And for verse 20, and for as much as the things pertaining to the temple are now in hand, we think it meet or right not to neglect such a matter, but to speak unto our master the king, to the intent that, if it be thy pleasure, it may be sought out in the books of thy fathers, and thou shalt find in the chronicles what is written concerning these things, and shall understand that that city was rebellious, troubling both kings and cities, and that the Jews were rebellious, and raised always wars therein, for the which cause even this city was made desolate. Say, we made wars against these other nations to make these cities desolate. It says, wherefore now we do declare unto thee, O master the king, that if this city be built again, and the walls thereof set up anew, thou shalt from henceforth have no passes into Cilicia, Syria, and Phoenix. See, they plotted all this so that the king could look at, okay, well, I ain't gonna be able to go, the passes that I'm able to go in Cilicia, Syria, and Phoenix, we ain't gonna be able to go through anymore. Then the king wrote back again to Rathamus, the story writer, to Beeltimus, to Similius, the scribe, and to the rest that were in commission with them, plotting against us, the Israelites, and dwellers in Samaria and Syria and Phoenix. After this matter, I have read the epistle which ye have sent unto me. Therefore I command to make diligent search, and it hath been found that that city was from the beginning practicing against kings, and the men therein were given to rebellion and war, and that mighty kings and fierce were in Jerusalem, who reigned and exacted tributes in Cilicia, Syria, and Phoenix. We know King David and King Solomon. King David ruled in warfare for 40 years, set all nations, all these different nations in order under the Israelites, so that his son, King Solomon, had peace for 40 years. Now, therefore, I have commanded to hinder those men, listen, therefore I have commanded to hinder those men from building the city, and heed to be taken that there be no more done in it. Stop building the temple. Stop building in our land of Judea, Jerusalem. And that those wicked workers proceed no further to the anointings of kings. Now, if y'all remember what Cyrus was asking all those men of Israel to go up to build the temple. Now, he listening to these wicked Persians talking against us and going by what it is that they're saying to stop the building of the temple. Verse 28, now therefore I have commanded, that's an order, to hinder those men from building the city, and heed to be taken that there be no more done in it, and that those wicked workers proceed no further to the anointings of kings. Then King Artaxerxes, his letters being read, these cats, I ain't gonna deal with their names, and the rest that were in commission with them, removing in haste toward Jerusalem with a troop of horsemen and a multitude of people in battle array, they coming ready for war, began to hinder the builders, and the building of the temple in Jerusalem ceased until the 2nd year of the reign of Darius, king of the Persians. So this is when the temple began to be erected again, during the 2nd year of King Darius. You see, now in chapter 3 of First Ezra, the 3rd chapter, there was a decree that 3 men came up with, and we're gonna look at First Ezra 3 and 8, and it's lining up what we're talking about. It said, and then everyone wrote his sentence, because they were saying what's more powerful. You're gonna see they making a bet about what's more powerful to the king. So it said, and then everyone, verse 8, and then everyone, this is First Ezra 3 and 8, and then everyone wrote his sentence, sealed it, and laid it under the King Darius, his pillow, right? And said that when the king is risen, some will give him the writings of what's the greatest. 3 things. Each one had their own thing that they said is the greatest. And of whose side the king and the 3 princes of Persia shall judge that his sentence is the wisest, right? To him shall the victory be given, as was appointed, right? The first wrote, wine is the strongest. The second wrote, the king is strongest. The third wrote, women are strongest, but above all things, truth bears away the victory, right? So now, they all go through, speaking on what is the greatest. And if you read these chapters, the most significant part of what each one said is the truth. But after the truth comes women. Because I'll just show you how, because he's the third one that gave his analysis of what's the greatest. First said wine, the second said the king, the third said women are strongest. But above all things, truth bears away the victory. So let's go to, and you read from when they started talking, and when you start dealing with the third at verse 13 of 2nd Ezra, the 4th chapter, look how much time they give to women. Then the third, who has spoken of women and of the truth, this was Zerubbabel, began to speak. They didn't get, you can read about, I don't want to read the whole thing about, wine and the king, because by the time you get to women, all that's going to be smashed anyway. Look. Then the third, this is verse 13 of 1st Ezra, the 4th chapter. Then the third, who has spoken of women and of the truth, this was Zerubbabel, began to speak. O ye men, it is not the great king, nor the multitude of men, neither is it wine that excelleth. Who is it then that ruleth them, or hath the lordship over them? Are they not women? Wow. Women have borne the king, and all the people that bear rule by sea and land come from a woman. Even of them came they, and they nourished them up that planted the vineyards to get the wine, from whence the wine cometh, you see. These also make garments for men. These bring glory unto men, and without women cannot men be. Yeah. And if men have gathered together gold and silver, or any other goodly thing, do they not love a woman which is comely, which is beautiful in favor and beauty? Love a woman that's beautiful and favorable and beautiful than gold and silver, he said. And letting all those things go, do they not gape, and even with open mouth fix their eyes first fast on her? And have not all men more desire unto her than unto silver or gold, or any goodly thing whatsoever? Say, a man leaveth his own father that brought him up in his own country, and cleaveth unto his wife. He sticketh not to spend his life with his wife, and remember neither father, nor mother, nor country for his wife. Don't remember his father, his mother, or country for his wife. By this also you must know that women have dominion over you. Ooh. Do ye not labor and toil and give and bring all to the woman? Yeah. It say, yeah, a man taketh his sword and goeth his way to rob and to steal, to sail upon the sea and upon rivers, and looketh upon the lion, and goeth in the darkness. And when he hath stolen, spoiled, and robbed, he bringeth it to his love, bringeth it to his woman. Wherefore a man loveth his wife better than father or mother. Yeah, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and become servants for their sakes. Look at all the men that's in prison behind women, and then lost their mind behind women. Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. These are the things you got to look at and try not to be as. But this happens. It's happening, has happened, going to happen, going to continue to happen. Many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. A lot of men compromised for women. Could be their place in the kingdom lost too. And now, do ye not believe me? Is not the king great in his power? The king over everybody. Do not all regions fear to touch him? Fear to touch the king. Yet did I see him, and upon me the king's concubine, the daughter of the admirable Bardacus, sitting at the right hand of the king, and taking the crown from the king's head, taking the crown off. I mean, men fear to touch the king. But after me, took the king's crown off his head. He said, taking the crown from the king's head and set it upon her own head, set it on her own head. She also struck the king with her left hand, took the king's crown off his head, put it on her own head, and then pow, struck the king with her left hand. And yet, for all this, the king gaped and gazed upon her with open mouth. If she laughed upon him, he laughed also. But if she took any displeasure at him, the king was fain to flatter, that she might be reconciled to him again, and she might, be happy with him again. O ye men, how can it be but women should be strong, seeing they do thus? Then the king and the princess looked one upon another. I mean, come on. He laid it on him. This would apple be done to the king. What are you going to say? They looking around at each other, and that is right. What he said is right. Then the king and the princess looked on one upon another. So he began to speak of the truth. O ye men, are not women strong? Great is the earth, high is the heaven, swift is the sun in its course. He compresses the heavens round about, and fetches his course again to his own place in one day, going around in 24 hours, coming back to the same place. Is he not great that maketh these things? Therefore great is the truth, and stronger than all things. All the earth calls upon the truth, and the heaven blesses it. All works shake and tremble at it, and with it is no unrighteous thing, because we know the truth class is what? Psalm 119, 142. Thy righteousness, thy is the Most High, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. That's why it's saying, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness. Therefore his righteousness is not unrighteousness, and with it is no unrighteous thing. Wine is wicked, the king is wicked, women are wicked, all the children of men are wicked, and such are all their wicked works. And there is no truth in them. And their unrighteousness, which is not keeping the Most High's law, statutes, commandments. But we know we define righteousness. He said that righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and that law is the truth. In Deuteronomy 6:25. It ain't going nowhere. That's why I say these passages of definitions that you know by heart applies when you see these words. This is righteousness, and it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments. So not to do the commandments is unrighteousness. But righteousness is to observe to do all these commandments before the Most High our power, as he hath commanded us. That's righteousness. To be righteous, you got to keep the commandments or the laws of the Most High. Now, verse 37 again. Wine is wicked, the king is wicked, women are wicked, all the children of men are wicked, and such are all their wicked works. And there is no truth in them. In their unrighteousness, not keeping the laws and the commandments of the Most High, also they shall perish. You hear that? World. Of everybody's worlds. It say, in their unrighteousness and not keeping the commandments of the Most High, also they shall perish. You're going to be put to death. Period. As for the truth, it endureth and is always strong. It liveth and conquereth forevermore. With her, there is no accepting of persons or rewards. Ain't no, Most High has no respect of persons with the truth, and you doing what you're supposed to do as individuals. Most High only have respect unto the Israelites in doing his truth, following his commandments and his laws. But she doeth the things that are just, and refraineth from all unjust. You see? She doeth the things that's just in the eyes of the Most High, and refraineth from all unjust, all things that are contrary to the Most High's commandments and laws, and wicked things, you see. And all men do well like of her works, in keeping the Most High's truth. neither is her judgment in any unrighteousness. You hear that? So her judgment of this truth is not in any unrighteousness, any unlawful thing, according to the Most High's laws, according to the Most High's commandments. And she is the strength, kingdom, power, and majesty of all ages. Blessed be the Most High power of truth. Blessed be the Most High power that wrote the truth, the laws, and the commandments with his finger, the work of the Most High. Hallelujah. And with that, he held his peace. And all the people then shouted and said, great is truth and mighty above all things, as he said. Remember what he said in verse 12 of 2nd Ezra, the 3rd chapter? The 3rd wrote, women are strongest, but above all things, truth beareth away the victory. So that's why you see, this is what they're screaming concerning the truth. Verse 41 of 1st Ezra, the 4th chapter. And with that he held his peace. And all the people then shouted and said, great is truth. Great is the commandments of the Most High that he wrote with his finger from the Most High, and mighty above all things. Then said the king unto him, ask what thou wilt more than is appointed in the writing, because they wrote that they're going to, give them certain things for whoever had the best analysis of what is the strongest. And we will give it thee, because thou art found wisest in saying women and then the truth. And thou shalt sit next me and shall be called my cousin. So he said, hey, I'm going to give you whatever you want, and you're going to sit next to me, and I'm going to call you my cousin. This is very important to hear, because this is the mindset that you could have got anything you want. Riches, sitting next to the king, say whatever you want, I'm going to give it, and you're going to be called my cousin. But you got to look at what he said. Then said he unto the king, remember thy vow, which thou hast vowed to build Jerusalem, in the day when thou camest to thy kingdom. You remember Cyrus? It was passed down. Cyrus, and all the other kings of the Persian and Medes Empire. You should remember your vow, which thou hast vowed to build Jerusalem in the day when thou camest to thy kingdom, and to send away all the vessels that were taken away out of Jerusalem, which Cyrus set apart. Remember, we read about this. Cyrus has set the vessels that Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians had taken from us when we went into captivity under them for 70 years. So he got all those vessels out of his idol temple and was giving them back to us, the Israelites. He set them apart. Listen to what he says, verse 45. For all you out there that think everybody love you, see, thou also have vowed to build up the temple, right? Which the Edomites, the so-called white man, the Caucasians, burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees. That's why when you go to, that's why I love the Bible, because it gives you our story, man, point blank. It's just, we don't know it, so as Israelites, we have to be told. That's why he told us in Obadiah. This book is about the Edomites, 21 verses. He told us in Obadiah, the book of Obadiah, the prophet Obadiah, start at verse 10. This is what it say. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. So we just read how they burnt our temples down, but we went to captivity under Chaldees. So we can't go into the temple to worship the Most High because they burned it down. Keep that in mind. Say, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob. This number 10th verse of the book of Obadiah. Shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. That's a proof of future prophecy. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captives, his forces, that's the Babylonians, so-called Ethiopians under Nebuchadnezzar, and foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, where we were at, even thou was as one of them. But thou shouldst not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldst thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldst thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress, when they came and took us out of Jerusalem, out of Judah, the land of Judah, and the Babylonians, the Ethiopian, under Nebuchadnezzar, took us into captivity. Our fraternal wicked brother, Esau, the Edomites, were part of doing the things that the Most High said that they done. Thou shouldst not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yeah, thou shouldst not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance, see, in the day of their calamity. Neither should thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. So some of us trying to escape, and they stood in our way to prevent us from escaping from going into captivity under the Babylonians. Because mind you, we're not under captivity under the Edomites. They part of following whatever it is that, like Cyrus said, he ruled the whole world. They part of being under him too. Like when you read Esther, you know, wicked Haman plotted to have us put to death during the time that we had Purim. He ended up getting put to death and his sons. Building gallows for us to be put to death, but hey, they ended up getting put on the gallows to kill us. You know, plotting to kill us. Neither should thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. We trying to run from them. Here they are over here. Neither should thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress, right? That's why the Most High say what? For the day of the Most High is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall be returned upon thine own head. See? That's what the Most High is saying. For as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yeah, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. Thus say the Most High. Understand this. Here goes the reparation in verse 17, Yasharallah. But upon Mount Zion, upon the 12 tribes of Israel shall be deliverance. That's when you say you're going to be saved. You're going to be saved, as it says. We can go there. Deliverance. Because we didn't go but to Luke, the 1st chapter, and the 68th verse. Let's continue to go further. This is being saved, y'all. Luke 1. Let's start at verse 68 again. It says, blessed be the Most High power of Israel. He let you know that he is the power of Israel, the Israelites, nobody else. For he has visited and redeemed his people. We define his people in Exodus, the 18th chapter, the 1st verse, the Israelites. And have raised up and horned our power of salvation, power from authority for us in the house of his servant David, who MASHAYACH came out of the tribe of Judah. Tell you that in Hebrews 7:14. For it is evident, it's a fact, that our power of MASHAYACH sprang out of Judah, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that what? That we should be saved, like it's saying, delivered from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us, you see. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers, that's Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, to the 12 tribes of Israel, and to remember his holy covenant. That's real. So now, looking at Obadiah 17, here go your reparations. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, meaning we're going to be saved, and there shall be holiness. What's holy? Romans 7:12. Romans 7:12. Holiness, right? Romans 7:12. Wherefore the law is holy. That's something. The same law y'all say we're not under, say the law is holy. So it'll be holiness because people will be following the laws of the Most High that he wrote with his finger. And the commandment holy. You want to be holiness? The laws, the commandments make you holy and just and good, right? So it says, hey, but upon Mount Zion, upon the 12 tribes of Israel shall be deliverance, Obadiah 17. And there shall be holiness. Because the law of the Most High going to be brought upon this kingdom. Look, MASHAYACH come back. Revelation 19:11. Better hear what the word says. Revelation 19:11. And I heard, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, pure righteous horse, power, righteous power, and he that sat upon it was called faithful and true. This is a MASHAYACH. And in righteousness, what's righteousness? We define that in Deuteronomy 6:25. To observe and do the commandments of the Most High. He does judge and make war. So he coming back to judge and make war according to the righteousness of the Most High. Don't get it twisted. 2nd Ezra 13. This the war he having with all the nations. It says, the Most High give you the understanding. When you read from 1 down, you get the understanding right here. He tell you, 2nd Ezra 13:37, and this my son, who was a MASHAYACH in the Old Testament, y'all, shall rebuke the wicked inventions, the war ordinances that they have, war weapons, weapons of war that they have in the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and the Air Force of all these nations that's going to come together to fight a MASHAYACH. As Reagan said, if we have entities that come from another world, well, we'll be able to come together to fight the entities. Listen, and this my son, that's a MASHAYACH, shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, to the fire. He going to destroy this world with fire. He coming with fire. And shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented. Which are like unto a flame, like I say. He going to use that purified element of fire to purify this world. And he shall destroy them without labor. How? By the law, which is like unto fire. By the word of the Most High, y'all. That's what it says. So now, going back to Obadiah, I digress. Going back to Obadiah 17, it says, but upon Mount Zion, upon the 12 tribes of Israel shall be deliverance. We're going to be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. And there shall be holiness. There going to be righteousness. There going to be the laws, statutes, commandments of the Most High. In the house of Jacob, who live in the house, the family of Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, shall possess their possessions. Whose? Verse 1, the vision of Obadiah, thus say the Most High power concerning Edom. Because it tell you in 2nd Ezra 6:9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So we're going to possess their possessions, right? So now, that's enough of that. Let's go back to Ezra, and you see what the Most High said. Now, we in the Persian and Medes Empire. Remember, don't forget what we started with Daniel 4:17, where the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, right? So now,